Good morning to you once again. You are heartily welcome to the Tuesday's edition of the program Press Brief this Tuesday morning of the 8th of October 2024. We are here to give you what the print sector are reporting regarding newsworthy information as reported by the newspapers. We'll be visiting the newsstands in Cameroon and that of Nigeria. We'll be back immediately after this. Face of the program with the first newspaper for today, The Dawn. The Dawn have as lead story Southwest Mayors hailed Health Ministry for decentralization. This one follows a workshop that was organized by the Ministry of Health in Boya, headed by the Director of Family Health in the Ministry of Health. That is Dr. Ezakios Iboko, who led the delegation to Boya to educate the various mayors on the transfer of resources and competencies to councils so for them to manage the various health establishments. We move on to Boya. Still, it talks of pomp celebration for World Teachers Day. In that said paper, Southwest Camphia 2024 launch evaluating HIV and AIDS response, taking you to Bangem Olive Mbome Trail at prospects of 2024 Miss Coupe Mwaninguba. We wrap up with this one from Manu. 198 students to benefit from Yubakuda scholarship scheme. You want to find details on that story on page 9. Away from that, let's make a stop over with the median. The median of Stephen Ojong report of preparation of 2025 state budget presidential circular still awaited. That's the latest story you can find on the median for this day. Carbon economic losses, market rejection, PhD research suggests solution to Maybach infestation of Silisi banana. Get to read more on the median of Stephen for this day. After electricity, Iraq Center Microfinance for Station EDC, the ADP approves CFA France 2.2 billion for Nguti Ra road projects. And taking you to caught in the eye of the storm, petitions and counter petitions against the PCC moderator Reverend Funky Samuel Foba. You can find details on the bottom page story of the median for this day. From the media newspaper, we now move forward with the next publication, the Guardian Post. The Guardian Post of Christian Guy reports for this morning, 1 month after the China African Summit, Bia's whereabouts unknown. That is what the paper of Christian Guy reports for this morning. After heavy rains, 13-year-old swept away by run of water in the Biamasi neighborhood of the Yaoundé 6 Council in the nation's political capital at Hamburg Sustainability Conference in Germany. It talks of Bia's envoy John Gute, others seeking solution to socio-ecological challenges. We now move on to Clean City Contest. Cambe Council grabs second prize. And away from that story, let's move on to the next paper, the Parliamentary Affairs newspaper, Ikoju Parliament. For this morning, talks of the training of youth in the educational system. It talks of Honorable Umaru Kachima Ahijo, who comes out with a great initiative in empowering youth so as for them to be more vested with their educational schemes. Get to read more on that said paper for today. Cameroon Echoes of William Dibale to a report of to boost academic excellence in Dian. Bafaka Balowe Chief Elites give gifts catch to outstanding students, and after abduction of Idabato district officer, it talks of Dian SDO Yibel Bardena suspends circulation of boats across the high seas. In the Njan division at town hall meeting, population hails Limbe City Mayor Paul Efumengale for development projects as reported by Cameroon Echoes for this morning. Tiko Municipal Police swings into action after graduation from Nasla. Away from that, we now move on to municipal updates for this morning. Report of Hamburg Conference. Bias Envoy John Gute joins world leaders to chart sustainable development. In that said paper of municipal updates report of Cambe Council wins second prize in Clean City contest, and Bilingualism Commission Mahatma Gandhi Institute of Peace strengthens ties. You can get to read more on that stories of the paper of Victor for this morning. And away from Victor's paper, we take you now to Cameroon Tribune for this morning. It talks of the peace and living together. It says chiefs in action in the promotion of peace and living together in Cameroon. And football, the crucial encounter between the Harambee Stars of Kenya and the Indomitable Lions of Cameroon. The paper reports of this enables clash. Get to read more on that said paper for today. Crossing over to Nigeria, we begin with the Nigerian national prince for today. Nigerian Tribune report of Rivers burns. This one follows on this story follows what is happening in Rivers State right now after the election of local government chairmen and women. Get to read more on that Rivers State story on this publication for this morning of Nigerian Tribune. And still in the said Nigerian Tribune, Edo Poll APC supporters storm INEC office as court grants PDP right to inspect the election materials. This one follows election petition as PDP won in Edo State. According to what the paper is reporting, it was due to malpractices, but the court now grants the PDP party the go ahead to inspect the entire electoral process that unfolded in Edo State in South Nigeria. Moving on to the Punch talks of Naira for crude. It says federal government panel proposes 6 months supply for Dangote refinery. In that said paper, Lagos begins trial of 2 doctors over patient deaths, and Nigerians in Lebanon fault federal government over evacuation team. And 2027 Obi Kwankwaso Alliance proposal will fail, says APC. For Barak camps opposes emergencies roll out as 3 killed. Secretariat raised to nothing by white infernos put in place by angry protesters yesterday in Rivers State. Vanguard for this morning talks of Rivers 5 killed, local government headquarters set ablaze, chairman chased out. That's a big story you can find on Vanguard for this morning. And I said Vanguard, Tinubu committed for food security, according to the Vice President Shetima, who talks on the bottom page story of Vanguard for this day. Matriculation, federal government can World Bank unite to save 11 million children. You want to find more on that said paper for today. Daily Trust for this morning talks of Rivers crisis escalates. That is the big story you can find on that said paper. And Hajj fare to hit 10 million naira as federal government stops subsidy to Muslim pilgrims to the Holy Land of Saudi Arabia. Dangote refinery, Nigerians may pay more for petrol as the Nigerian National Petroleum Company (NNPC) quits Middle middleman role, according to Daily Trust for today. New Telegraph report on you can't win all fights. Let's go off Rivers. We need peace. Fobara tells Wiki. Get to read that story on page 2 and page 28 of New Telegraph for this day. In that set, New Telegraph, the paper talks of Edo gubernatorial elections, petition APC INEC obstruction or cost of justice, according to PDP, who alleges on that story. And NIBSS, it talks of cashless policy to boost POS deployment by 32.3% to record 3.5 million naira. The Guardian for this morning report of state of emergencies talks Rivers as political talks attack cancels. Get to read details on that story on page 6 of the Guardian for this day. And worries over petrol price as Tinubu deregulates downstream sector. Get to read more on page 6 on that paper for today. NAFDAC champions food labeling standards as workers commence indefinite strike action. Police arrest Arugula loyalist for accusing Oyotola of using palliative rights as birthday gift. What a interesting story you can find on page 30 of the Guardian for today. Moving on to Nigerian News Direct for this day, talks of Ferrol's appeals technicalities undermining anti-corruption efforts, according to Nigerian's President Bola Tinubu, who talks on that story for today. And Sanwo-Olu is committed to food security, according to the Commissioner for Lagos State, who talks on that on Nigerian News Direct for this morning. Away from that, wrap up with this one from the last Nigerian tabloids. That is Daily Independent talks of Rivers local government pool. Tinubu wants angry parties against self-help, and Ayakul calls for change in tactics of fighting corruption. Tinubu not averse to food security in Nigeria, says Shetima, who happens to be the Vice President of Nigeria. All organs of APC except NWC are not functioning, according to Lukman, who made mention on that on page 29. Coming back to Cameroon with the Cameroonian tabloid, we begin now with the Horizon. The Horizon report on CDC's banana exports up 17% in the month of September of 2024, according to the Horizon newspaper for today. At celebration of 31st edition of World Teachers Day in Boya, Southwest Governor Bernard Okalia Bilai urges teachers to uphold ethics and deontology of the noble profession. Tiko May gets honorary PhD distinction in leadership and good governance from U.S. Varsity. And Anglophone crisis, how separatist militias are losing financial support from the diaspora. And Stop Strategy, Honorable Naomi Bongwi cries out of neglect. And away from that paper of the Horizon, we now move on to the next tabloid, Honor Disposal. This time around we'll be taking you to the satiric newspaper of Le Populi. Le Populi for this morning talks of SOS Nation looks for her Kunkuma. That's the nation, that's a translation from this Cameroonian parlance. That's the nation of Cameroon is looking for her president, who has gone missing for 35 days counting, as President Paul Biya, after the Sino-African summit that was held in Beijing, China, by Chinese President Xi Jinping. Him and the wife have not been seen in public, and as such, the satiric newspaper is looking join her voices to that of millions of Cameroonians to ask for the whereabouts of President Paul Biya. Taking you now to the sports paper, Actu Sport for this morning talks of Indomitable Lions. It talks of how they are in camp for this crucial encounter between them and the Harambee Stars of Kenya for the qualification ticket to the road to Morocco 2025 AFCON qualifiers. In that set, Actu Sport, the paper talks of Castellito keeps shining in his club. Get to read more on the Cameroonian forwards there on Actu Sport for today. Away from Actu Sport, we move on to La Meteo. La Meteo talks of the Glencore scandal. It says sacrifice That is a big question the paper is asking for today. Who is that person that they want to sacrifice on the Glencoe corruption saga perpetrated by high-ranking officials in Cameroon at the SNH and Sonora establishment and those in government? Get to read an explanation on La Meteo for today. From La Meteo, we take you. We won't be having quotidian. Can we have quotidian emissions? If that won't be okay, we move on to quotidian emissions now. Quotidian emissions talks of the in financial flow. It talks of 1,700 billion CFA francs that was lost as a result of illicit financial cash flow in Cameroon. University of Betua, the hour of resumption has come. Get to read more on page 4 on quotidian emissions for today. We move forward with this story from Gawa, how a gang of thieves has been arrested by the forces of law and order. You can find that story on the bottom page story, on the top page story of that set paper of quotidian emissions for today. The health paper, a quotidian Ecosante report of the humanitarian mission. It says the Chinese the Chinese ship baptized Peace Act gets docked in the port of Douala for free health services to Cameroonians and non-Cameroonians in the city of Douala and her environs. And this health provision is done for free by the Chinese health ship known as Peace Act. You can find more on that story for this morning on the publication of the hot paper Quotidian Sante. Fight against malaria in Cameroon. It talks of Reach Out Cameroon puts more effort in the locality of the north region of the country, according to that paper. And for my time for this morning talks of the call for protests. It talks of Mbanga Tanganang denounces the anarchy of certain fake correspondences that are circulating on the various social media space. According to Info Matin, we report on that story for this morning. Moving on to the environmental newspaper, Afrique Environment for this morning talks of Yaoundé, the ordeal of garbage heaps in the nation's political capital city. Get to read details on that set health hazards on the environmental newspaper of Afrique Environment for this morning. And in the said African Environment, the paper reports of the need to preserve wild endangered species in Cameroon. Get to read more explanations on that story for this morning. We're moving on to another health paper, My Hospital for this morning report of health humanitarian gesture by the Chinese government. It says a Peace Act docked on the docked at the Douala seaport for free medical services to Cameroonians, according to My Hospital for today. Cancer, the fight against cancer. It talks of the regional hospital in Gaoundere intensifies her fight against cancer-related illnesses. Get to read more on that set publication for this morning. Away from that, let's make a stop over with the next publication. Now we take you to the story, this publication this time around with L'Observateur du Septentrion. Talks of the fight against floods in the Logon and Shari division of the Far North region. It says how some 807 lands has been lost as a result of the intense floods in the Logon and Shari division of the Far North region. In that said publication, the paper talks of frauds in the Cameroonian system, how more than 4,000 soldiers and police officers were suspended by the different hierarchy in the defense and security departments in Cameroon for their involvement in corruption and bribery situations in the forces of law and order department. Get to read details on that story for this morning. Moving on to the other publication, that is Eco News for this morning, talks of the need for more coins to be made available to the Cameroonian market or the Cameroonian economy, according to Eco News for this morning. From Eco News Views, let's move on to the next publication. This is gonna be one of the last, or the last for today. Late have as lead story Alma Abomze talks of her defense on inclusive education. Get to read more on the Student Affairs newspaper of Leitudiang newspaper for today. Talks of still the paper report of sports. It says the crucial encounter between the Harambee Stars of Kenya and the Indomitable Lions of Cameroon will be played on the 11th of 11th of October 2024 at the Amazo Ahijo Stadium at the Fandena neighborhoods of Yaoundé. Related to the young newspaper, this is where we draw the curtains of today's program. Press brief. Thanks so much for the privilege of your company. Till we come your way tomorrow, God willing. Bye bye.